Coming up next on Cooking on the Wild Side.
We love to cook it all out on an outdoor fire, but sometimes, you know, like right now, Phyllis has got a bad knee and it hinders her hunker. And you got to be able to hunker if you're going to cook on an outdoor fire, right? So we're going to do it in the kitchen.
And it's debatable as to who can hunker and who can't, but anyway.
We may need to have a hunker off here.
That's right.
Yeah, all right.
Squirrel. We're going to cook squirrel.
Good.
You know, squirrel, I think people oftentimes overlook how good squirrel really is.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in abundance. It's a really good way to teach youngsters. It's a really good first hunt,
Yeah.
you know, the smaller gun and all that. So and then you can come home and fix them a lot of different ways. But this way is so easy. If you've had a good squirrel hunt or a good squirrel season and you've got some in the freezer, if you're a working person and you want to get up, fix it in the morning, then go out and go to work and come home and supper's ready, well, this is what you're going to do.
Oh, now that has appeal.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is so easy. Now, what I like to do is take like 6 to 8 squirrels and do this at the time. But all in the world we're going to do, we've got some oil here. We're going to coat up. This is just flour with salt and pepper and a little garlic in it.
You know what? I'll bet you there aren't 20 people in Arkansas have ever tried squirrel anyway except fry.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and
of course you're frying this.
Well, we're going to brown it. We're just going to
see.
lightly brown it. And actually, John, I don't think you would even have to do this. I don't think you would have to brown it. But I don't know. It just, to me, it just makes it taste a little better when it's got that, you know, that coating on it from being browned.
Little flour.
All in the world you do is just brown it.
And that's just plain old flour.
Plain old flour with salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic powder in it.
Got to have a little bit of garlic.
And that really does add to the flavor. But then all you do is brown those pieces. And I understand that this squirrel even came from one of your squirrel hunts.
Yes, it did. Yeah, Jim Holmes and I went squirrel hunting on this one. We also got some blooper footage out of this.
Oh.
Because I slid, Phyllis, I had no idea there was a slide that long in Grant County.
We'll have to be calling you Beaver John.
Or Mud John.
Yeah.
Mud Bugs.
Well, squirrel hunting is really a lot of fun. And, you know, it's one of those that you can do it with dogs.
Yeah.
You can do it still hunting. You can pretty much, you know, if you live in the country, go out your back door and make a little walking around.
One thing is for sure, there is no shortage of the resource. There are squirrels everywhere.
You know, my first time I ever shot a squirrel, I think it took me 7 shots to get it.
Well, I've got some of those stories, but I'm not going to tell you.
So see, and you're not actually going to cook this. It's almost like you're going to seal the juices in, you know, when you're browning it like this.
Yeah.
Then as the pieces, as they brown, then what you're going to do is you're going to take these pieces out and just put them in the crock pot, just like that.
Yeah. Drop them over in the crock pot.
Drop them over in the crock pot.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
And you know what? When you've browned it in this grease like this, what you could you could even actually do it for breakfast, and that would be, you make gravy out of this.
A lot of people like squirrel and gravy and biscuits for breakfast.
But you could, you could even brown a little extra and have some for breakfast.
Sure.
But you've got this browned. We're going to put it in the crock pot here. Then all in the world, John, you're going to do is you're going to take a bottle of prepared barbecue sauce. You want to make your own, pour that barbecue sauce over that, put the lid on it, plug it in, go off to work, cook it about 6 or 8 hours, and then you're ready. Now, so that you don't have to wait 6 or 8 hours, if you'll put that one up, I just happen to have one here already ready, so for you to taste.
Oh my goodness, my goodness, my
goodness. And this is the way it looks when it's done.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the more squirrels you put in there, if you're going to put, if you're going to put 6 or 8 squirrels, you might want to put 2 bottles of barbecue sauce.
Don't worry about putting too much barbecue sauce, I guess.
Just cover them.
Not putting enough.
Right, just cover them. Now cooking it in this crock pot makes it so tender. Now, you can have that for supper that night.
May I help myself?
Oh, please, you just help yourself while I'm talking. You cook that, you have that for dinner that night, and then what you do, what's left over, you take it off the bone, put it in little Ziploc bags, and then you can use onion rolls or whatever and have sandwiches the next night. Yeah, I mean, it's barbecued squirrel. It's so simple. Take squirrel, flour it, brown it, put it in a crock pot, pour bottled barbecue sauce over it, cook it 6 to 8 hours, let it go, don't worry about it, and you've got a great supper.
Oh, this is so tender.
Well, you know, that's one of the things about cooking squirrel or any wild game in a crock pot. A crock pot is an excellent way to cook wild game because remember, we've always say cook wild game slowly and not at real high temperatures, and it'll make it more tender. So if you know, that's one of the reasons for using a crock pot, especially for wild game, because it'll just fall off the bones and really be tender.
I think it's one of my squirrels too. You know, I only kill the fried
you only
size.
kill the tender ones.
Right.